Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. The Artful Colorist Tessa here. Wanted to talk to you guys about the Faber-Castell Polychromo pencils. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys a little bit about the Polychromo pencils and also the Prisma Premier pencils, but mostly I'm going to be talking to you guys about the Faber-Castell pencils and a little bit of some techniques that I like to use. So sit back and hope you enjoy this video, and here we go. So I got the 120 set. That's all of the colors that Faber-Castell makes in their Polychromos. And I don't know if you guys can see. Here's the tray one, and then there's another tray, and then underneath the second tray there is a third tray. So those are all of the colors that come in the set. They do also come in a set of 12, 24, 36, 60, and 120 with all the colors. They are made in Germany. They're a German brand versus the Prisma Premier pencils that are done in the United States. Well, they're made in Mexico, but they're a US company. So yeah, so sit back and I'm gonna tweak my camera so you guys can get a better look and show you some of the things that I do with the two different pencils. So here is a piece that I have done from an Angie Grace coloring book. This is from Nifty, it's number 5, and I have colored this with the Prismacolor Premier pencils. And you can kind of tell, I don't know if you can see in this, but that you do get like a waxy bloom in the while working with them, because you can truly overwork them. And with the Prismacolor or the Polychromos, I find that you get more of a subtle kind of texture and a subtle look, and your approach is a little different than what you would normally do with the Prismacolors. I've noticed that you do more layers and build up your color with the Polychromos versus the Prismacolors. I find that I can actually do most of this technique in maybe 1 or 2 layers, where with the Polychromos I had to do very light applications of color, and they don't blend as easily as the Prismacolors because they don't blend in the same way. Unfortunately, but they just don't blend in the same way. They actually, the Prismacolors are a softer lead and a more creamier lead than the Polychromos, the Faber-Castell Polychromos. But I do find that you can get more depth and vibrance from using the Polychromos. To let you guys know that the Premiers, the Prismacolor Premiers are wax-based, and the Polychromos are oil-based colored pencil. And so they just work just a little different. It's a test that I did of the Faber-Castell pencils, Polychromo pencils. Here's a light color that I did they're red, Scarlet red, and then a medium pressure, and then a darker pressure, and then this is a layer 1 with a heavier pressure, and this is 2 layers with it. So that's 1 layer and 2 layers. And I also did it in their blue, and this is their 9201141 color, and the red Scarlet is their 9201219. And so I did the same thing, and I did a light pressure, medium pressure, and then a hard pressure or a deep pressure, and then 1 layer with a deeper pressure, and then 2 layers on that. And I did do a test on blending. This is the Prismacolor Premier blend, and this is the Polychromos blend. And I have to say, if you can see that, I did take some white spirit. It's an oil kind of solvent that I use. It's a Winsor & Newton oil color solvent, and I like it. I like using it because it gives me a more even tone, where I felt like with the Prismacolors I can do that without having a solvent with it, but I didn't like that the Prismacolors tend to get that waxy bloom. So in this video I'm going to just be talking about some of the pros and cons about each of their colored pencils, and mostly about the Faber-Castell Polychromos. So some of the pros about them are that they have vibrant and rich colors, and if you take the time to learn the steps in layering and not forcing something and actually doing a slower technique than what I normally would do with the Prismacolors Premier pencils, I tend to find that I want to rush the process with the Premier, with the Polychromos, and it's not the case. You got to take your time and layer. This took me almost about 3-4 hours just to do this background, and that's with taking the time to really meticulously focus on pressure of my pencil and not having too heavy of a hand. And so what I was doing was, I'll zoom in, so give me a second. So I zoomed in a little bit, and what I did was I outlined, and I normally don't do that with the Premiers. I tend to kind of just go in with a more upward motion like that, kind of a flicking motion like I would do with Copics. But I found that, I didn't do these areas, so I'll show you exactly what I do. So I go in and I'll outline, and I try to do this not a very wide outline. I try to do it in a very kind of more thinner outline, so that when I go in after I do that, I do circles kind of to blend that out. And as I'm blending, I lighten my pressure, and I kind of blend until I am barely kind of putting any pressure on the pencil. So I kind of pull the color from that line, and I kind of blend it out. And then I'll go back in and I'll darken that color up like that. And then with the white spirit, I tend to take a blending stump, and I'll dip it in real. Don't need a lot. I don't know if you can notice, but you really don't need a lot of fluid. And I keep mine in a little container with a sponge in it, and I just got this from Crafter's Companion, who makes the Spectrum Noir markers. And I find that is just a great. I got 2 of them, and I put alcohol in the other, rubbing alcohol in the other one, and white spirit blending. And I just did blending on it because that's what I use it for. And so what I'll do is I'll come in here and I'll blend out those colors a little bit. And I'll do it on this one. I'll blend out the colors a little bit. I like to take a little bit of tracing paper or tissue paper to kind of keep the oils from my hand from going in. And then with that, once it's blended out with the white spirits, I'll come in with a little darker color. Kind of do little tiny circles, a circular motion, and kind of feather that out. And just with that little bit of blending solution, the white spirit, it does help to kind of give a more smoother texture. And you're really not putting any pressure on right now. You're kind of just adding a little bit of, kind of wiping a little bit of the color onto it. And so I noticed that if I want to, I can take a little lighter color and kind of just give that shadow kind of a little bit more of an emphasis, like that. And so I'll go back, and sometimes even I won't even put the blending solution on, the white spirit on. I'll come back with a little bit of a darker color and kind of do a thin outline and kind of blend that out. and with my circular motion again. And then I'll come in with a little bit of the blending solution. Gonna pull that into the center to kind of give it a little bit of a highlight in the middle. So that's what I do. And what I've noticed is that you really want to start with your lightest color and build to your darkest color. For me personally, I find that that's what works for me. Some people like to add their dark color and then blend with their lighter color out. It doesn't bother me. I mean, whatever way works for you. I just know that this is the method and technique that I like, and it works great for me. And so I'll come back in my little darker color and add a little bit of depth to that area right there. And so that's what works for me. That gives me my tone and then gives me my kind of shadow in that area. And then I'll kind of come back and it kind of fills in the edges of, kind of takes the outline that I did, and it kind of makes it a little bit more softer, but not as a harsher line. It kind of softens that line up. So that's what I do. And I find that these pencils are fantastic. Once you take the time and really slow down your brain and slow down the process of it, you will find that you'll start to understand that they are such a different, I don't want to say beast, but they're such a different kind of, they have a different personality than the Premier, I can't speak tonight it's really super late and I apologize. For the Prismacolor Premier Pencils, they're such a different, I've noticed that when I'm using the Premiers, I tend to hold my pencil very tight while my grip is very tight, and I noticed that when I'm using the Polychromos, the Faber-Castell Polychromos, I've noticed that I don't have such, my wrist doesn't hurt after coloring for 30 minutes or 10 minutes. I find that I'm actually not in as much pain. Even know that the lead is a little harder, then it's not as soft as the Premiers. I do find that I'm not trying to force the pencil to do something it's not used to doing. I'm actually allowing the pencil to kind of gradually build up the color and build up kind of a few different layers, and it works really well to do that. When you keep them, I found that you have to kind of keep them in the same family color or same kind of tonality. Like if you notice, I have pretty much like a greeny blue, like a teal blue, and then an aqua blue, and like this is a cobalt turquoise, and this is, oops, sorry guys, and this is another turquoise. This is a Helio, sorry for my pronunciation. Helio turquoise, and then this is their cobalt green. So with all of that said, they're kind of in the same kind of bluish green tone family. I just have a light, and then I have a medium and a dark. Just wanted to readjust my camera to show you a little bit more closer up on what I'm using, how I'm doing my technique. And I'm kind of doing like, I'll go in, I'll outline with the lighter color like that and try to make it as kind of even as possible, and then again I'll do the circle motions out, and then light, and gives me that little bit of depth. And then what I'll do is I'll take my darker color and go in kind of adding a little bit of depth, kind of making that look like it's a raised surface. And yeah, so this is what I do with the Prismacolor, or the Faber-Castell Polychromos. I find that they're fantastic. I will be doing a more up-to-date video later down when I have a little bit more miles under my belt with these, and kind of figuring out the tricks and tips about them. And so I wanted to kind of blend that out and show you a little bit up close. This is just a blending stump with some white spirit on it. And I've seen other people use this in their videos on YouTube, and I really like the kind of smooth look they get from doing this technique. I don't know if it would work. I haven't tried it on the Premiers, the Prismacolor Premier Pencils, but it would be kind of interesting to see. Sorry if I'm not in frame. Sorry, I'm trying to look into getting a new camera setup, and I haven't gotten to that point where, unfortunately, I gotta save my monies before I can get a new camera, or we gotta wait for taxes to come back in, all our tax refunds. But that's another topic. But yeah, so this is, once again, I just do light on the edges. Kind of sometimes I'll outline and then I'll do a lighter color like that to kind of blend them together. And then what I'll do is I just dip this once, and I don't dip it a lot. I just dip it once, and I kind of, I'm learning, and I hope that you don't mind kind of being patient with me and kind of exploring how these pencils kind of work and how to kind of achieve the overall look that I'm trying to get. I do have to say, the Winsor & Newton White Spirit, the oil kind of solvent, it is a little pungent. So if you are kind of sensitive to smells, you may want to look into doing something that is like an odorless kind of solvent for oils, and that might help with the smell. I haven't researched much. I just kind of was watching a video and found somebody on YouTube mention the white spirit, and so I basically looked into it and kind of bought the first one I saw on Amazon, and it happened to be the Winsor & Newton. And I have to say, I'm very pleased. I do have some turpentine that I got that is supposed to be an odorless turpentine from when I was in college, because I've heard that it actually helps with other stuff to use if you're going to use it. And I haven't used it much in recent times, so I'm not really 100% sure the properties of it, because my memory is kind of lacking in that, unfortunately. But yeah, so this is just, I'm just gonna plug away and add my dark shadows to my blue area to give me a little bit more contrast. And there you go. Thanks everyone for tuning in to my video about Polychromo, Faber-Castell Polychromo pencils. I really enjoy exploring and trying out new things, and I'm happy that I was able to do this video for you guys. And if you like it, please hit the like button down below. And yeah, so thanks friends, and I hope that I will be able to do more videos on products that you guys wanted me to review. And if you do have any kind of questions about something, please make a suggestion in the suggestion box, in the comment box down below. And in the future, I will be probably doing a watercolor piece that I'm going to be doing for my son, who is turning 4 in a couple weeks, and he really is into the Minions. So I'm going to be doing a Minion kind of fan art piece for him that I kind of sketched up and kind of pieced together. And so I'm just kind of working out kind of logistics on that and how I'm going to be doing that. So stay tuned, and if you like this video, please hit the like button down below, and I'll have all of the supplies and everything that I used in this video listed. And tell your friends, come join the party. And thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.